Trapped in the desert with no water. This is the story of a man who got stranded alone in the Arizona desert, with no water, no signal, and almost no chance of survival. But what rescuers found beside him 5 days later made absolutely no sense. Before we begin, where are you watching from right now? Drop your country in the comments, and subscribe if you enjoy cinematic survival stories like this. In the summer of 2019, 29-year-old Ethan Cole decided to take a solo road trip across Arizona. Ethan worked remotely as a freelance photographer. Most of his life existed online, editing photos, posting content, answering clients. But after years of non-stop work and stress, he wanted silence, real silence. So he packed a camera bag, a drone, a tent, and started driving deep into the desert searching for abandoned places to photograph. At first, everything felt peaceful. Endless roads, orange sunsets, empty landscapes stretching forever beneath the heat. He posted photos online every few hours. Old gas stations, broken signs, miles of empty desert roads. People commented things like, "Bro, this looks creepy. You're way too far out. Imagine your car breaking down there." Ethan laughed at the comments, until 3 days later, that's exactly what happened. It happened just after noon. The temperature was over 110 degrees. Ethan's SUV suddenly jerked violently before smoke exploded from beneath the hood. The engine dead instantly. At first, he stayed calm. He tried restarting it. Nothing. Again, nothing. No signal, no nearby road signs, no other cars, just heat, endless heat. Ethan stepped outside and immediately realized how isolated he really was. The desert felt different once the engine stopped. Silent, heavy, almost unreal. He checked his supplies. 2 bottles of water, 1 small energy bar, and less than 15% battery on his phone. That's when panic quietly started creeping in.
Experts say the smartest thing to do in the desert is stay near your vehicle. But Ethan made the mistake many stranded people make. He thought he could walk to help. In the distance, he thought he saw power lines, or maybe buildings. The heat distorted everything. Still, he grabbed 1 bottle of water and started walking. At first, it felt manageable, but after only 30 minutes, the heat became brutal. The ground itself felt alive, burning through his shoes. His mouth dried rapidly. Sweat disappeared almost instantly in the dry air. And then, something strange started happening. Ethan began hearing sounds, voices, car doors, footsteps behind him, but every time he turned around, nothing was there. By sunset of the first day, Ethan was completely lost. The road had disappeared behind him, his phone battery died, and the desert became freezing cold almost instantly after dark. That night, he barely slept. Every sound felt dangerous. Wind moving across rocks, coyotes howling somewhere in the distance, and once he swore he saw headlights moving far away across the desert. He screamed for help, but the lights vanished. The next morning, his second bottle of water was gone. That's when the hallucinations became worse. He started seeing things moving in the distance, trees that disappeared when he got closer, buildings that weren't real. At one point, he saw what looked like a gas station beside the horizon. He ran toward it desperately, only to discover it was nothing but rocks and heat waves. That's when Ethan finally understood something terrifying. The desert was slowly breaking his mind. By day 4, Ethan could barely walk. His lips were bleeding, his vision blurred constantly. His body had almost stopped sweating completely. He knew what that meant. Heat stroke was beginning, and in the middle of nowhere, heat stroke is often a death sentence. That afternoon, Ethan collapsed beside a group of large rocks, too weak to continue. And for the first time, he genuinely believed he was going to die there. But then, he noticed something strange. Underneath one of the rocks, there was shade, cooler air.
Ethan crawled closer and discovered a narrow opening leading underground. At first, he hesitated, but the heat outside was unbearable, so he crawled inside, and what he found there saved his life. The opening led into a small hidden cave beneath the rocks. Inside, the temperature dropped dramatically. The air felt cooler, damp, almost unbelievable after days beneath the desert sun. And deeper inside, Ethan found something even more shocking: water. Small drops slowly dripping from the cave ceiling into shallow pools below. Not much, but enough. He spent hours collecting tiny amounts with shaking hands. That water kept him alive. For 2 more days, Ethan remained inside the cave, surviving on tiny drops of water while waiting for rescue. Too weak to leave, too exhausted to walk further. Meanwhile, search teams had already started looking for him. His family noticed he stopped posting online. Then his phone location disappeared. Authorities eventually located his abandoned SUV, but Ethan himself was nowhere nearby. Most rescuers assumed he had wandered too far into the desert to survive. On the morning of day 6, a rescue helicopter finally spotted movement near the rocks. At first, they thought Ethan was dead. He could barely stand, barely wave. His skin was severely burned, his body dangerously dehydrated, but somehow he was still alive. Rescuers later said something shocked them most. The cave Ethan survived inside was almost impossible to notice from above. If he had collapsed even 50 feet farther away, he probably never would have been found. Ethan spent 11 days recovering in the hospital, and after surviving the desert, he admitted something publicly that surprised people. He said, "The scariest part wasn't dying, it was realizing how quickly confidence turns into panic when nature stops caring whether you survive." Today, Ethan still travels, still photographs abandoned places, but he never enters remote areas without emergency supplies again. And every year, people disappear in deserts after making the exact same mistake, thinking they're more prepared than they really are. Because in survival situations, nature doesn't care how confident you are, only how prepared you are. Be honest, if your car broke down alone in the middle of the desert, would you stay calm enough to survive, or would panic make your decisions for you?